welcome everybody to Topless Topics, a channel that seeks to destigmatize female toplessness through repeat exposure. Except if you're watching this on YouTube right now, which means you're watching the patriarchy-approved version of this video. If you'd like to see the non-patriarchy-approved version of this video, you're going to have to head over to my website and look for the title of the video there. Anyway, I am your host Cleo, and today I wanted to talk about last night's debate between former Lieutenant Governor and Mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania, John Fetterman, and slick-talking, fake diet pill shilling, reality TV star Dr. Oz. Yes, it's pretty obvious that I have a political inclination in regards to this debate, but hold on, let's talk about why that matters even if you do lean Republican. And no, I don't mean Oz's stated position that abortion is a matter to be decided upon between a woman, her doctor, and local politicians. So if you did watch the debates, or more importantly, if you read any of the articles written about it, or social media reactions, you may think that the only important thing about the whole debate was the fact that it was John Fetterman's first public appearance since he had a stroke in May. It didn't seem to matter what zany, cruel positions Oz put out there when he even answered a question instead of just regurgitating Republican talking points. It didn't seem to matter that Fetterman actually considered the questions and gave out a thoughtful, measured response. No, the only thing that mattered was how quickly Fetterman was able to reply to Oz's snide, rapidly spat out attacks. The only thing that mattered was how many milliseconds it took John Fetterman to gather his thoughts rather than spit out the first thing to pop into his mind like so many Republican candidates do. Why does the media care so much about this in particular, instead of substantive issues like explicit definitions of policy positions? Well, because it's divisive, aka it gets the clicks. However, in many ways, the media has in fact put egg on their face. By focusing so much on Fetterman's disability, as he recovers from a health event experienced by thousands of Americans every day, they've exposed a deep dark truth about the majority of the American electorate. Y'all are ableist as hell! Imagine, if you will, that you are a person who has suffered a stroke or similar health event in your life. Imagine that you were so concerned about the health of our civil institutions that you felt behooved to run for public office so that you could try to change them for the better. Now imagine having everyone tell you, "No, we don't want to hear from you," because it takes a little bit longer to get your words out, because you can't immediately spit out carefully rehearsed replies to issues of concern without actually answering the question of what you plan to do about them. Because of all that, you do not deserve to be a member of Congress. You do not deserve power to actually influence the policies that govern millions of Americans, many of whom have your exact disability. When you've grown accustomed to only hearing from political candidates, whose only talent seems to be to repeat talking points decided by committee are the right things to say, it's easy to forget what our elected officials are actually supposed to do. They're actually supposed to be our representatives in the chambers of Congress, not further the interest of whichever corporation has the most money to buy their loyalty. It actually reminds me of the years of derisive scorn that Republicans have thrown at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for having the temerity to work a lonely peon job in the service industry before she joined Congress. Obviously, having lived a life without wealth and privilege makes them incapable of making good decisions about people who've lived lives just like they have. I mean, even before all this ableism talk about Fetterman, you can see people online saying that the reason he can't be voted for, like the fact that he lived for a while with his parents, which millions of us have had to do, especially as capitalism grinds the middle class out of existence. Or the fact that he bought a house from his parents for $1, which is an extremely common practice in states like Pennsylvania based on how home ownership is transferred. But back to the critiques of Fetterman's so-called mental decline. One of the core aspects of ableism is the conflation of disparate health conditions into a one-size-fits-all umbrella. If you've never experienced or known someone to experience a stroke before, it may shock you to learn that the part of your brain that controls how you speak is different than the part of your brain that controls your cognitive thinking. In layman terms, just because it takes you a little extra time to come up with the right words to say what you mean, does not correlate to not understanding the actual meaning of what was said. One response I saw on Twitter that I think makes this concept a lot easier to understand is speaking to someone in a language you only know a few words of. If a Japanese person says to you, "Sumimasen, toshokan wa doko desu ka?" and the only words from that you understand are toshokan and doko, it's not that hard to figure out that someone's asking, "Where's the library, please?" Similarly, having a Republican hack shout a question at you on live TV and not giving you time to think of your answer is a very easy and dishonest way to make you look like a bumbling fool. Fetterman is not a bumbling fool. Through his years of serving as mayor and then lieutenant governor of the state he was born and raised in, he has demonstrated that he is an intelligent, empathetic leader who uses his lifelong experience as a non-member of the wealthy elite to help those of us who can't afford our own penis-shaped rocket to Mars. So if you're in Pennsylvania, please think about who you're voting for. With all the corrupt and dictatorial decisions the far-right Supreme Court has been making, the relentless and unconstitutional tactics Republicans are using to make it harder and harder for regular people to vote, even their flat-out admission that they'll toss out election votes they don't agree with. This is not an election you want to waste your vote or not vote at all. What's left of democracy is hanging by a thread, and only you and me and people like us can save it. Also, if you have anyone you know in Pennsylvania, maybe give them a call and make sure they know what peril we're in depending on how they vote. And as for the rest of us voting in other parts of the nation, we do not have the luxury of stamping our foot and having a temper tantrum over the next 2 weeks. Don't be distracted. Make voting a priority. Be prepared. Bring what you need to, especially since it's apparently illegal to give people water, but not to give them gas vouchers and blah, 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 Herschel Walker, blah, blah, blah. I didn't even get to that. Talk to everyone you know, try to get them to vote, offer rides, do whatever it takes. If all of us sane people vote, the Republicans lose. You just have to go out and do it. I totally forgot I was going to go into this whole thing about how Dr. Oz making those crazy comments about abortion gives Democrats an opportunity to bring the conversation back to shit that matters, like the whole turning women into baby factories who don't get to decide if a 12-year-old has to carry their rapist baby or not. But I'm pretty sure most people have clicked off this video by now, so if you are still here, then hello! Congrats on making it through the whole video. I hope that I have made some good points for you to think about. I hope that you will be intelligent and thoughtful in how you vote and that you actually will vote. And yeah, please save democracy. Vote blue no matter who, because if you waste your vote on a third party, Republicans will win. Alright, cheerful subject. Bye!